the first verse, and first and second verse say what, Chris?
Moreover, the word of the land came to me, saying, And you, son of man, thus says the Lord God to the land of Israel,
Yeah.
An end. The end has come upon the four corners of the land.
Okay, just stop there. It's interesting that God is saying something there which is very important. The word Lord there, if you look at it as a capital Lord, it's God Himself speaking, saying, the end is coming. Okay, now this is very important to look at, because what do we read in Matthew chapter 24? That nobody knows when the end will come. Only the Father knows. And somehow, what I want you to see is that God, in His mind, has a time that He's going to say, it's finished. Time will be no more. And the idea is to figure out, because if you don't know, lots of people are trying to set times. It's bad news that they're trying to do that. Because in reality, if you look at the 2,300 evenings and mornings, which is part of Daniel 8:14, it ended in the period 1844. That's what, and it's, as I said to you, great men, Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, and Martin Luther, great people. This is their discovery. It's not our discovery. It's not something that we found out. It's things that the Reformers studied and found out, and which we have looked at and have agreed on. That the end of the 2,300 period of Daniel 8:14 ended in 1844. It ended. Now, according to the Word, something was supposed to happen. Now, keeping your finger there in that memory verse, I want you to jump across again to Revelation chapter 6. And in Revelation chapter 6, just remember this. When you study the book of Revelation, it was once phrased that all the books of the Bible meet and end in Revelation. So if you want to understand the book of Revelation, you need to understand the Old and the New Testament right up to the book of Jude. You need to understand it. Actually have read it, have a knowledge of what's taking place there, so that you can understand what's happening in Revelation. Although Revelation is a lot of symbolical language, almost 80% of Revelation is actually found in the Old Testament. But it never gives reference to it. Some places it does, but it doesn't say, oh, the thought that I'm looking at now comes from that section of scripture over there. No. You've got to find that link in order to understand what's going on in Revelation. But in Revelation chapter 6, we are introduced to the time span, remember, we've gone through. Now, what I want you to understand is that, remember, in the time span, we have these Cinderella prophecies. We have these different things that are happening that tells us where we are in time. But according to Daniel 8:14, the last time that was actually given, if we could say something, was in 1844. Okay, now let me just show you this. If you look at Revelation chapter 6, and again when you read on this, you will find that this period, or this chapter, is known to be a chapter that defines or gives to us a time, so that, or the events happening in time, so you know where you are. So let's use the one, I want you to go with me and look at verse 9, which is the fifth seal. Okay. Now, if you look at that, it talks about people under the altar saying to God, how long are you still going to do this, etc., blah, blah, blah. And then God says to them, I want you to, then it says, sorry, I must read this to you. Verse 11 says, then each of them was given a white robe. And then this thought carries on, and they were told to wait a little longer. So these people are asking, Lord, when are you going to come back and sort these people out that have treated us badly and killed us? When are you going to sort them out? And God turns around and says, here's a white robe. Now this white robe is very important. Okay, I want you to recognize that to each of them is given a white robe, which is in some sense, remember there's a feast. I haven't got time to take it all, but you can go and look at this. There's a feast where God invites everybody to a banquet. And then some people say, well, I can't come because I'm busy doing this. And everyone says, I can't come because of... But then finally, the people come, and then he goes through the guests. but he finds one man without a garment in the story. Do you know the story?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, but okay, let's just quickly keep your finger in 6 also now. And go to Matthew. We can look at Matthew 22. That's right.
And then from verse 11.
The last one.
Yeah, that's the last one. But
Yeah.
when the king came in to look at the guests, he saw there a man who had no wedding garment. And he said to him, "Friend, how did you get here without a wedding garment?" And this is very important. This strikes me. And he was speechless.
Yeah,
Why was he speechless?
because he didn't have any green.
Because the Lord was given for nothing.
Yeah. Okay, but first of all, yes. Just notice, I want you to look here, the story, the banquet feast, and the parable of the wedding banquet. It's God just saying, I'm going back. In John 14, he says, I'm going back to go and prepare you a place. And I am coming back to fetch you. So the promise there is, I am coming back. But he doesn't say when. But I am coming back to fetch you to be with me where I am. Then he gives you the story of the banquet feast. And the banquet feast is like saying, I just want to give you some hints. First of all, I want you to understand the condition of the world. The condition of the world at this time is that everybody will be busy. They will be carrying on like it was in the days of Noah, eating and drinking, marrying. So I want you to understand something, that the coming of Christ is not going to come when it's holiday. Not going to come when we're all standing waiting for it. He's going to come when we're all busy with our normal lives. You understand this? So you'll be maybe on your way to work and the Lord comes. You might be on your way to church and the Lord comes. You might even be sleeping and the Lord comes. It's not a matter of the condition of the world which is painted here is not a world that's waiting for Christ to come. There are some, but most of us are just getting on with our life. Now remember I told you about the trumpets. In Leviticus, we were reminded that you must be careful that there's a time for the blowing of the trumpets, and in that time you must do no regular work. It doesn't say you mustn't do normal work, but there's a slight change to it. It means that although you're doing your regular work, keep looking over your shoulder. You understand what I'm saying? Although you're doing what you normally do, don't do it like you always did without looking around. It's saying if you are doing this, just be sure that you're ready. So do what you're doing, but kind of also have your bags packed. Don't do it and forget to pack your bags, because it's almost an anticipation. You don't know when, but you know it's more or less. But you don't know when, but you know that you need to be ready. So.
But you ain't taking any luggage with you.
I'm just using it as a phrase.
Luggage is your face.
It's just like when Jesus says that the man who God finds waiting and watching is the faithful man. So although we are busy with life, we mustn't neglect to be faithful and watching. We must be watchers, checking out what's going on. Okay, then in this parable, he talks about it, and then one says, I'm sorry, I can't come because I just got married. The other one says, I can't come because I've just purchased a piece of land. The other one says, man, I just got myself some oxen. So you can say it's like starting up a factory, and I just want to check it out to see if it's working properly. And they neglect to be aware that something's going on. But that carries on. He invites anybody who wants to come in. I mean, the riffraff, everybody gets in. But when they get in, he's walking around so excited, and he's the one that's serving everybody. And he comes to this fellow and says, where's your garment? Now this is very important. So the Revelation chapter 6 tells us that when these people cry out, Lord, when are you going to let your blood? It says to each of them was given a garment. Now that's basically like we always put it, link it to there. The wedding garment. You're allowed to come in. You've been RSVP'd, not by yourself, but God has RSVP'd you by giving you the garment. You can come, but here's a garment, bring it, but he finds a bloke inside without the garment. And he said, how did you get inside here? Now, I want you to jump, well, hang on, before we do that. So we have this period of time when there's people who are asking God. Then they're told, wait for the longer. there are others like you who need to also receive a wedding garment. You hear what's going on? I want you to come, but hang on, there's still some others. So just be patient, please. Now, one person was telling me just over this past weekend that he wishes that God would come. So I said, that's great, I also wish he'll come. But if you weren't ready, would you wish he comes? No. So, if we really want Jesus to come, then we need to go everybody we know that's not ready and say, hey, listen, you need to make a decision. Because by them making the decision, we are actually encouraging God to come. That's why the word says in Matthew 24, the gospel of this kingdom must be preached to all the world, to all nations, as a testimony to all of them, and then the end will come. In our discussion, I'm going to show you something that's brilliant, because we ask questions like, what about the Muslim? What about the Hindu? What about all these people who aren't Christian, who don't have a Bible? How are they going to make this decision? And I'm going to show you that as we go on. But we have this phrase. Now, the interesting thing about this particular seal, it happens before this period. It's way in front here. It's actually over a period of 2,600 years that we call the Dark Ages. And that Dark Age period was in about 538 AD to about 17, around 17th century. We have this dark period. Remember we said it was 18 years, 18 generations of total, almost obliviousness of God. And I'm going to show you something as we go on. So this is here. So we're talking, in the sixth seal, we're talking about things that's back. It's not part of us here now. And then you look at the next one, the sixth seal, and we have the sun, moon, and stars, and everything we discussed already. That's a period of time that just walks along here. And this is where the things like the blood moon and all of that stuff come into the picture. And then we have the next thing it says there, if you look at the sixth seal, it talks about the sun, moon, but watch what it says in verse 18 of Revelation chapter 6. What do you say, Chris? Because yours was an interesting.
Mine doesn't have a verse 18.
Yeah, mine stops at 7.
Revelation chapter 6, no verse 18.
No.
Verse 15. I need glasses. Verse 15.
Can we just double check your Bible?
Can
we just double check your Bible?
Let's check to see. Yeah.
There's a couple missing in his Bible.
And the kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the commanders, the mighty men, every slave and every free man hid themselves in the caves and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath has come, and who is able to stand?
So the question is asked. First of all, what we see there is that this is the day, and they call it, and I want to put it over here, God always refers to it as the day, the day. There's in the Old Testament you constantly get reference to. Let me show you one. Go to Malachi, and I want you to look at the last chapter of Malachi. It's referred to as what? The chapter at the top. Malachi, the last chapter, chapter 4.
Great day of the Lord.
It's the great day of the Lord. The Lord has a day. That's something we need to know. God is not drifting around thinking, I wish I could have a day. He has a day. A day that He knows about. And it's the Lord's day. And that day is the day He returns. That's the coming of the Lord. The second coming, okay? This is the second, not the first.
Just tell me one thing. That day. Normally when you think about a day, especially with your kids and stuff like that, I always think about this. I've got a 6-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. Is that they push you and they push you and they push you until that day. And you take out the wooden spoon and you spank it. And then you start afresh. Do you think that day for God, is it a joyous day? An angry day?
Let the word answer that, because if I
Surely it
answer
says
it,
in the word that I will come and I will judge you in the way that you have been. What was the word?
well, okay, you see, he's trying to get the word to do. So let's get God to speak, because I don't want to put words in His mouth. Revelation chapter 22, verse 12. Revelation 22 verse 12. What's it say there? Who's speaking here first of all? It's God speaking and he's saying what? What's verse 12 say?
Look,
Yeah,
I am
you go.
coming soon. My reward is with me. I will give to each person according to what they have done. I'm the Alpha and the Omega.
Okay, let's
first
just
and
stop
last.
it. He's saying, I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to be happy. All I'm going to do that day is I'm going to hand out to you what you asked for.
Correct. You'll get what you've reaped.
Whatever it is.
And what you've
Now,
sown.
this is very important to bear in mind. Going back, now just to quickly jump back to Ezekiel, the verse that you have to read. And you'll see that Ezekiel chapter 7 says, that verse, it says something there that's quite intriguing. Now we're starting to get a hint of what's going on. We've actually just forced me here again. But we gone past the end of time.
7.
This is the end of time, but it's not the last days.
Now, Ezekiel says in verse 3, one of the reads it says that the end has come upon you, and I will send my anger against you.
Okay, but hang
I'll judge
on.
according to
Yeah,
your
but go and look what he says there. You jumping there. But look at what verse 27 says. Sorry. Yeah, 27. But I took a piece out of it. But just read it there.
Verse 27, what? 6.
Chapter 7. Yeah.
Verse
So that's
27.
what you want to read.
The kingdom will mourn, the prince will be clothed with desolation, and the hands of the common people will tremble.
Okay, then this is what?
I will come to the
Okay, this is God speaking here because he's saying something. I'm going to do this. And this is something I want you to really note here. That God, since 1844, God is doing something. Not you. You can be involved in it. But if you don't want to, that's all right. He's going to. He says, I will, what? Who's
I will do to them according to their way, and according to what they deserve, I will judge them.
Okay.
Then they shall know that I am the Lord.
Okay, so God is saying, there's a lot of people saying to me
Doesn't
that,
he always say, I am God?
yes,
Jesus says, I am the Lord.
that's correct. We're going to see this, well, we don't want to get into that, but it's the same person in a sense. But let's first have a look at this. And this is that God's not, there's this concept out in the world at the moment that God's not fair. That God, how can you let children suffer? What kind of God is this? You understand? I mean, it's, if it was a God of love, why do children die? I mean, look at all these people that are being executed. Where's God's empathy with us? But they don't see the proper picture. They don't want to get involved in that. But God's saying, hang on, whoa. I'm not coming to do something. I'm actually just coming to allow that what you decided to happen. He's not coming down to change your mind. He's coming down to reveal what your mind was all about. The devil, up to this point, up to the cross of Calvary, he was working in such a mysterious way that even today people don't think there's a devil. When you say, tell me who the devil is, they'll draw little red hot stuff in there. Do you remember reading hot stuff? Yeah, his little horns and that's the devil. Or, Revelation paints him like a dragon, and the other one plays him like a lamb. We don't know who the devil is. He's been so good in his disguises that nobody knows who he is. But God was forthright. He came out and said, here I am. This is me. I'm walking on planet Earth. This is what I do. And then people said, hey, But they started to blame him, and they actually said, you do the works of Beelzebub. You do the works of the devil. The devil was so well in his disguise that they even thought God was the devil.
So please don't tell me the guy that rocked up at the party without a robe was the bad guy.
Yes, he is the bad guy. Well, I don't want you to make him too bad too quickly. He's like us. Ignorant.
Yeah.
So the problem is, in this world we're living now, everybody's blaming God for, look how that is. I mean, John chapter 9, an incredible chapter, talks about a man who's born blind. The question that is asked there, did this man get born blind because of his own sin or because of the sin of his parents? Now, what is sin? It's the transgression of law. Whose law? God's law. So if this man is blind, that's God's punishment to him for sinning. Maybe not him, but his parents. So you see, who's got the blame for making him blind? God. But why was he blind? Not because God made him blind. Somehow we forget that when we choose sin, we choose to be blind. We choose the consequences of that sin. When Eve ate from the tree, she chose to die. God didn't kill her. He didn't walk up and say, oh, shit. No. He said, you choose. And in the Word of God, we have this still placed out before people. And this is what we really should be thinking about. I place before you life and death. Blessings and curses. Which one are you going to choose? And then he actually says, I want you to choose life.
Yeah.
There's lots of examples. The people study the word. Jesus says that in it you think you have life, but that actually is pointing to me who gives you life. He doesn't give you death. If you don't choose me, you are dying. But if you do choose me, you are living.
Yeah.
I haven't come to kill you, I've come to give you life. The choice you make is killing you. But I've come to take that and give you life. I will die, you live. So we have this, so I want you to just pick up on this. First of all, God is not vindictively looking out to see who can kill. No. The wages of sin is death. Not the wages of God is death. Did you hear that? Serving God doesn't kill you. Serving sin kills you. You understand? Now the author of sin is the devil, but he's so well disguised that people don't know it's him. But they blame God. The story of Job was given to mankind. Now it's interesting, we go and study the book of Job. It was written by Moses. The book of Job. And now just think of this. If you go and study it, and I can prove this to you, Job himself lived in the time of Abraham. Okay, if you look at the book of Genesis, we have the creation of the world, and who's the next person in the picture after Noah? Abraham. Now this story of Job, which you find right just before Psalms, should actually be put with the book of Genesis almost. Because it was like God saying to you, and this is, I'm always intrigued by the way God works. He's busy revealing all this incredible knowledge about how that God created the world, and Moses is standing and recording, and also God said, hey, I just want to tell you a story about Job. It's like, okay, Lord, Genesis, Exodus, we've done all that now, here's the book of Job. What's the story? And he takes you back to Abraham's time. He says, I'm going to tell you about a guy called Job. And then what we have revealed there are three main actors. And of course friends. And the friends are exactly like we are, but we have three main actors. We have God, we have the devil, and we have Job. You and I. But Job is like you and I. He goes to church, he does everything, he's accepted God, but bad things happen to him one day. And when the world looks at it, they say, wow, I know this bad thing. The first thing is, he must have done something wrong, that's why I came to death. You know, and the others say, it's just God, God's like that. But nobody talks about the devil. But in Job, God says, hang on, I want you to know, we're talking about the devil, he's part of this picture. And now I must show you, go with me to Job quickly, because now Job's now just before the Psalms, so you know where the Psalms are. That's something that we always find very quickly. So Job just before Psalms, Job chapter 1, and I just want you to notice how people think who don't see the true story of what's going on in the last days. Job chapter 1, and I want you to go down. Verse 12, let's just get introduced to the plot here. The Lord said to Satan, very well then, everything he has is in your hands. Now what is God saying to the devil? What Job owns is in whose hands? God's hands or the devil's hands? Just get this clear. It's in the devil's hands. It's all in your hands, okay? And he says, but on the man himself do not lay a finger. Now this is brilliant to me, because the devil can do what he wants to do, but with God said, you can't touch that. Now this is really very important, because I want you to understand, we're going to see this now. What's it saying in the last part of that verse? Then Satan went out from whose presence? So, this is the terrible thing. When you move away from God's presence, the safest place is to be in God's presence, because if you're away from God's presence, you're in the devil's presence, because he moved away from God. So if you're not in God's presence, I want to tell you something. The best place to be when you're in trouble is in God's presence. Okay? Because it's a safe place to be. But, listen to this. Now I want you to listen to the story. Start with verse 13. Now, first of all, who is doing this according to what we know? Who's doing it?
Satan.
It's Satan doing it, not God. God said, okay, you can do, but you can't touch Job. But go ahead.
But Job doesn't know that.
Yes, but Job doesn't know it. That's correct. So none of us down here know about it. Okay, but there's a slight twist in this, I'm going to show you. So it says one day, and that sounds like one of these fairy stories. Once upon a time. One day. It's a normal day. It's a day that Job normally did things. It wasn't a new day. It wasn't special. It wasn't even his birthday. It was one day in your life. One day in your life. Not one day that you planned this way. It was one day that you got up to go to work. It was one day that the daughters and sons of Job were feasting and drinking. Now, if you read a little bit before that, they did that all the time. So it was one of the days that they were happening to feast and drink. This was just one of them. And what happens? They were eating and drinking there, carrying on as normal, and a messenger came to Job and said, the oxen were plowing. What's it sound like? A normal day. They were plowing. And the donkeys were grazing. I mean, how's that for detail? I mean, is there anything different to a normal day? No, they were carrying about. They were eating and plowing.
Tranquility.
Yes, and the Sabians attacked and carried them off. They put the servants to the sword, and I'm the only one who attacked. Now, who is blamed for this action right here now? No. David, he didn't say God did this. The Sabians, the blokes, they came down and they plundered. So here God is, whew, what a relief. But who's under the influence of the Sabian? Who's influencing the Sabians? Who's a murderer and a thief from the beginning? Satan. So Satan had got somebody to go out, steal the sheep and oxen on a normal day. Do you have that happening in your house on a normal day? You go to work and come back, your house is gone. It's not always, but something like that.
The materials are
Hey?
The materials are
Yeah, some of the stuff. Anyway, so it's an all day, and then you say, oh man, those people, look what they did, those Satans. And so we, in some sense, look at them and say, I mean, you're the stealers. Okay, but picture carries on, it doesn't stop there, because somebody's got to get the blame sooner or later, and it can't be the Satans all the time, because they're not there all the time. You understand? So the next one. While he was still speaking, I mean, how do you like that for threes? While he was still speaking, another message came, and now I want to tell you what is his words this time. What's he saying?
The fire of God.
The fire of God. Whoops. Who's now brought into the picture? God is brought into the picture. God did this. But what do we know? Who left the presence of God? Who was doing this? The devil's doing it, but we say, oh, God's doing it. He's not in this picture, and we all know that, just because we actually have been given privy into this true story. We've seen behind the scenes. Okay, let's jump away from there, go back to Revelation chapter 6 again. Here in Revelation chapter 6, we see that God is really busy. He does things. He tells us, okay, I want you people to all know. In 1844, now the last verse of Revelation 16 says, verse 17, what did it say then?
For the great day of his wrath has come, and who is able to stand?
Okay, the question is asked, who
Is able to stand
can stand? Stand when?
before God
Before God.
on that great day.
On that day. Who can stand? Now, I'm telling you, all of us are asking that question. Because you really need to know who can stand so that you can get yourselves ready so that you can stand. I mean, that's clever. You don't go into a court case not being ready. You go into a court case standing, ready. If you go in and you caught off guard, then you didn't do your homework. So, who can stand? Now, Revelation chapter 7. Now, I want you to understand something about, again, the Word of God. I wish I wish I could print a Bible where I take Revelation, and I don't put any chapters, and I don't put any commas, I only put full stops and exclamation marks where they're supposed to be. But I don't do anything else. That means Revelation 6 and 7, you wouldn't know where it ended. You see, automatically when we come to the end of Revelation 6, we say, oh, that's the end of that chapter. It's not. You're still in the middle of the chapter somewhere. But because we've made it the end of the chapter, we say, oh, okay, that's the end. We go on our way because we've just read the end. No, you haven't read the end. If that's the case, then here was the end. This is the end here. So we all turn away and say, oh, finished. Meantime, we haven't read that there's something happening after the end. We put a full stop in the middle of the sentence. Or we've put a semicolon. We've actually paused longer than we should have paused there. And people pause here and they walk away. No, you should have walked away. Because the question was asked in the last verse, the question was asked, who can stand? I mean, how do you walk away from that question? Who can stand? We just want to know who can stand here. But we walked away. We introduced the 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth. So now this is brilliant because all of a sudden the earth is brought into picture.
Just a quick, when you say the 4 corners of the globe, I'm reading that book of Daniel, and you have the 4 kings of the corner that appear. One with a lion with wings on.
Okay, that's actually nice, but it's you can't link that like that to here.
Okay.
Because those are real kings.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not real kings.
Okay.
Okay, it says 4 angels. Now, just when you think of a compass, it's a round thing. Do you get square ones? No. But anyway, it's mostly round. And then when you look at it, what do you have on the compass?
Northeast, southwest.
You have the world. It's on there. This encompasses the whole world. You can stand anywhere on the world, and you can see where you're on the compass. You're still there. 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth means the world. Something that's beautiful has happened. Is the questions asked who can stand, and also we have the world. And we have 4 angels standing there. But with these angels aren't just standing there, they're really working. What are they doing?
Holding back the weapons of the storm.
They're holding back some kind of thing that's happening over here. They're holding back.
For destruction.
And every now and then a little gust goes, and what hits the world? Earthquake, famine. Holding on. You understand what I'm saying? Now imagine them turn around and say, "Let's go."
Obliterate.
You understand? But they're not. Now, why are they not releasing?
Give us time.
Because who can stand?
Yeah.
Listen to what it says there in verse 3. Verse 3 says what? Who are they? Who is the who can stand in this time? Verse 3 says, what does it say there?
And in 3 saying, do not harm the earth or the sea or the trees until we have sealed the servants of our God.
Okay, this is just on their foreheads. Now this is brilliant. Just a matter of interest, I'm just going to throw this out, we're not going to discuss it now. But here it says the seal's placed for where?
For their foreheads.
For him. Jump to Revelation 13 quickly, and the devil also is going to do something there. Gentlemen, I just want you to listen, I just said something. The devil's also doing something. God's doing something.
What's the difference between a sealing the forehead and a white robe?
The white robe is already been sealed.
So you get the, and then you get the white robe.
Well, you can't have the one without the other one. Okay. But I want you to notice there's this seal. It's like, imagine I've got a letter and I've just put it into an envelope and I start licking. If I lick just the first part, is it sealed?
No.
No. Now it's sealed. Okay. You don't just seal just the first part, you seal. And God is busy. Part of the sealing is actually putting the white robe on you.
We're chapter 7 now, eh?
Yes, now we're in chapter 13, Revelation 13. It says there, and I want you to notice this, verse 16. This is the devil doing his thing now. And it's in the same time period, more or less. It says, what is he doing there in verse...
And he causes all, the small and the great, and the rich, and the poor, and the free and the bond, that there be given them a mark on their right hand or upon their forehead.
Wow, so where does he put his mark? On the right hand or on the forehead? But where does God put his mark?
Only.
Only on the forehead.
Only.
Wow, that's interesting. We're not going to talk about it now. We're going to have a look at it. But I want you to jump back again. We're right here where it says, don't let the winds go yet, because we first have to put a seal on the foreheads of my people. So what are we experiencing that's happened since 1844 and up to here? What is God doing right here? He is in a sealing process. But who is also sealing?
Satan.
Satan.
He's also putting his mark.
He's also putting his mark.
It's almost like cattle, and you go and brand them. And so that when all the cattle come together at an auctioneer, you know your cattle from somebody else's cattle because your initials is branded on it.
Now that's interesting. I want you to notice it does, and this is where we're going a little offline. Some people come to me and say, I just heard about the number 666, Have you heard of that before? Okay, just look at Revelation 16 quickly. I'm not getting to 13, I'm not going to discuss this now, but we will get to it. It says there, it says, I want you just to look, it says, verse 16, he also caused anyone small and great, rich and poor, to receive a mark. Does all of your Bibles say mark?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so if it says mark, can it be David?
No.
Now, can it be Mark? Can Mark be a number? Okay, but then we've got a problem, because if you look at it says there, verse 17, so no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number. Okay, now hang on, which one is it? Is it the mark, or is it the name, or is it the number? You see, be careful here. Don't think that the number is the mark. The mark's not the number is not the mark. And it's not the name either.
It's the number of his name.
Well, look at what it says in the last verse, because you see, just as verse 16 ended saying, who, what does verse 18 end with? No, what's it say there? No, what's it say before that? What's it say? The person with some brains in his head. We're getting people that are doing this. There's no brain activity here. People are speculating about what the number is. No, you can't speculate about what the number is. You must understand, this calls for wisdom. When you read this number, it's too easy if it's 666. That's too easy. That means I should never use 666 anywhere on a barcode. You know it. If I want to catch you, I don't let it be 666. This calls for wisdom. So we're not going to discuss it now, but I want you to notice that the devil is also present. He's doing it so subtly. We think we know what he's doing, but we think it's 666. But meantime, on this side here, it's not 666. And you don't even know it, but maybe you are being messed around with by the devil. Because if you haven't allowed yourself in God's hands, he is busy with you. Do you know that? Now, I want to tell you something. When it comes to life and death, I want to know where I stand. I don't want anybody to mess around with me. And this is too serious a matter to allow even the ministry to decide for me. This is too serious a matter to even the Chris decide this for me. I want to tell you something. Let's say there's only R1 million, or there's only one loaf of bread left on the shelf. Is Chris going to give it to me? No. He's going to fight for his own life, man. We're going to wrestle for that loaf of bread. And yet when it comes to eternal life, we say, it's all right, we're gives it to us, we'll accept that. The devil doesn't want to give you life, so he's going to take it from you, but God does want to give it to you, and the only way you can get it from him is if you choose it.
That's what I'm saying. I watched a thing on, there was these Jewish people that were talking, and in the States, with all this blood moon and stuff going on, in America, there were 3 farms, and they're all Christian family grown stuff. And on the particular day, 3 calves were born with a 7 on their foreheads.
Cultural people.
The cult.
Okay, but can I just stop you right there? Good information, but not biblical.
Sure.
Okay, I'm saying it very boldly.
No, I understand that.
You don't take revelation and make it literal, because man, then you need 4 angels standing on a literal 4 earth. Can anyone tell me, have you seen 4 angels somewhere around on planet Earth, trying to hold something? No, don't. It's symbolic, and you have to define the symbol. Jesus says, "I'm the bread of life." Was he actually a loaf of bread?
No.
No, you figure it out. There's something about it. This is the thing about revelation. You've got to figure it out. I want to tell you something. If you're not really interested in knowing what's happening on planet Earth, then don't worry about revelation. Just carry on with your normal life.
I just want to ask a question because, on verse 18, why would they then specifically name the number 666?
Very important, because that's how you identify.
Identify who?
But then if he then tells you the number, why does he say here's room, and I'm reading
Yes,
Amplified,
Karen, yes.
here's room for discernment, a call for wisdom or of interpretation. Let anyone who has intelligence, in brackets, penetration and insight enough, calculate the number of the beast, for it's a human number, the number of a certain man. His number is 666.
That's brilliant. What God is doing is saying, okay, here is a number. I mean, this is brilliant, because who's writing the book of Revelation? Not the devil. The devil doesn't want you to know this.
No, this is God speaking.
God is saying, gentlemen, you want to know what's going on? Everybody's blaming me, but check this number. I'm giving it to you. And he gives you a number, 666. Now, this is something brilliant about God. 666 doesn't just fall randomly everywhere. God chose that number for a reason. But he says, I want you to go. You want to find out who it is. Now, just remember, this is like one of the clues. But don't make it the clue.
Yeah.
Because there's also a mark and there's also a name. Now, some people run with a number, and the number could end up being your church. What? Never! Throw it away.
But it's that number 666 you've told us before is on the top of the Catholics.
Yeah, but don't get sidetracked there. It's true, we've determined the number of a man, and we see his kind of makeup. But if you're doing what he's doing, then you've also got the number. It's just that you can't see it, because he puts it on your forehead and on your hand without you even knowing about it.
Yeah.
Now there is something there. Well, I've done something there that's wrong. If he puts it on your hand, you don't know it. But if he puts it on your forehead, you know it.
It's a conscious decision.
Did you hear what I just said now? There are some people who receive the mark, or the number, or the name, without knowing it. And that's terrible. But there will be some people who will be receiving the mark, the name, and the number, and they will know it. The difference with God is He doesn't put it on your hand, so it's not that you may be going to know it, that you say, or that you've chosen it. He puts it on your forehead, which means you do know. I mean, what's the word say? Unless you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart, you cannot be saved.
Yeah, sure.
So confession comes from something you think, I believe. So it's an intellectual decision. So God says, wow, when you've made up your mind here, I put my mark there saying, that's mine.
Yeah.
But there are some people who adamantly are the devils, they don't care about it, and they will make it known, well, in the way they are. But there are some people who don't know, but in actual fact, Jesus referred to something, he says, some of you, I mean, just the story in the Word of God again takes place in Christ's life, where he comes and the Samaritans don't want to allow him into the city. And two of his disciples turn around and said, man, God, let us call fire down from heaven and let us destroy them. Because they didn't, they were really full of energy, for God's zeal. And Jesus turned around and said, whoa, you don't know who's your father now. You want to kill everybody. God doesn't kill.
He says.
Just think about that.
Oh.
Is God being blamed for killing people in the Old Testament? Yeah, Jesus said, you want to call down fire and kill everybody? walking with Jesus all along, but their actions revealed that their brain didn't know what they were, who they really belonged to. And Jesus identifies and says, there's another time where Peter says to Jesus, I will never let that happen to you. You will not die on my watch. Never. Jesus looked at him and said, get behind me, Satan. What? He hasn't seen his disciples saying, get behind me, you devil. What do you know? I was actually thinking of you. No, you weren't thinking of him. You see, the subtlety of the mark. The Christian Crusaders killed more people than I would ever like to acknowledge under the banner of the cross. Wow. Then no wonder Islam comes in under the banner of their cross. They kill people too. Where did they get the clue from? So let's come back again. So we see here that in this time period here, there is a sealing taking place. Now, I asked this question right in the beginning. I'm going to ask it here again. Just for a moment, put your feet in God's shoes. Okay. He looks down at the world, man, and it's not getting better. In actual fact, every thought of the mind of the person is evil all the time. We haven't really reached that yet. But, man, people's intents around you aren't for your favor, they're for your death. I guarantee you. You know, they say keep your enemies close. Have you heard phrases like that? I mean, since when do you keep your enemies close to you? It's like saying
you keep your people close to you and your enemies.
But you see, the point that I'm making here is, and that's not good news. That means if Craig's keeping me close to him, it's like extra close. Okay, we haven't really been close. I want to be friends with him. Yeah. Who's close to him? Are you close? Could be an enemy. But the point I'm making here, I want you to understand that we're not living in a world that cares about you. We're living in a world that wants to take everything they can from you. Yeah. And don't tell me Christian is different.
Now, as Christians, you still spoil. You know, when someone irritates you, you can still say, I hate that guy. But you shouldn't have.
That's correct. So, let's have a look at something here. The seal of God, this is very serious. The question to me is, if time came to an end here, this was the end of time. But we have, since then, we have days, and they're carrying on. When is it going to be the last day? When is it going to be this day? Of course, at the moment, it's day, or could be today. Could be today, and we carry on, could be, and then finally, could never be. Really? Because it is going to happen.
That's when it'll
And you can't afford not to be ready.
That's when it'll be.
That's when it'll be.
When everyone says,
Shouldn't you live your license?
This is never going to happen. We've been saying this for thousands of years. That'll be the day.
Well, that's interesting. I know that this is the beauty of the trumpets. When you see the trumpets blowing. Now, let's just have a look. Revelation 7, we have 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth. Okay. Revelation chapter 8, we are introduced to the trumpets. And I said to you, we're going to just touch it. First one. Verse 7. Revelation chapter 8, verse 7. Now, I want you to imagine that from this point here to here, you find the numbers 1 through 7. And the numbers are all about trumpets. Now remember we said when we read about the feast, we read there was a feast of trumpets before there was a feast of Yom Kippur. The day of Yom Kippur. The day of Yom Kippur is the biggest day in the Jewish calendar. It basically was a day of judgment. It was the day that rewards were handed out. But you had a preparation to that period and it was called the Feast of Trumpets. Okay, now, please also understand that although I'm doing this to help you to see where you are here, the way we identify the trumpets is that we look at history. Now, I'm going to just do something with history over here. His story. What have I just done? I mean, what have I just done here? History can be the events of man. or history can be God's story with man. Are you with me? So when, from a biblical point, you look at history, you see God in action. Okay. If God's not in the picture, then it's just man in action. The story of Job looks like man in action. He's taking a step back, devil in action. God in action, watching. You understand? We're stepping back. So history, if you start looking at history with the eyes of God, you're now looking through His eyes. Now you're not just looking at Abraham anymore just as a man. It's a man with God. You're not looking at Jezebel as just a woman. It's a woman who rebelled against God. So also God's in the picture. God is in the picture of every man. From the day you're born to the day you die. He's in your face. And so is the devil. So we now, in order to understand the trumpets here, these events that are taking place, we're going to have to look back in history and say, did God kind of use this format somewhere before? Because if He used it before, it'll help us to understand what He's doing now. So if we can see what He's done before, we can see what He's doing now. So the trumpets is going to take me back in history. And I'm going to be looking for things. Now, just a matter of interest, just to show you. First trumpet, it's one sentence. One sentence. The first angel sounded his trumpet. That means he's telling everybody something. The problem is, we're not hearing the tune. There might be too much noise, or too many people trying to tell you what is he saying? Jesus came to this world, and one of the things that He did, which was so brilliant, man had cluttered God's truth so much that the simplicity of truth was smothered with man's inventions. And Jesus came along and He takes His knife out and He dissects and He removes man's rubbish and He reveals the truth of God. It's just right there. And it's brilliant. The truth will set you free.
You're going to take your machines away.
But the point that I'm making here is that it says there, the first angel sounds his trumpet, and this is what happens. Now imagine this. I want you to imagine, you need to see this picture, because this is a picture being painted by John, because he has no idea what he's painting. He knows what he's painting, but he doesn't know what it means, because it's not for him, it's for those who are living in the last days, not in your days, because if it was in his days, they would understand it. Yeah, he's just right. So he writes what you see. Write, John. I'm telling you, just write it down. Don't worry about it. In Daniel, God actually said to Daniel, don't worry about it. You can go and buy now. It's for the people in the future. So here he's saying to you, okay, the first angel sounded the trumpet, then came hail and fire mixed with blood, and it was hurled down upon the earth. Wow, that's it. Okay, so I'd like to start with my drawing. Hail, put a block of ice, color it blue, and call it hail, and it's big.
That's good.
And then, whoop, right next to it, what's the next thing?
Fire mixed with blood.
Fire. And I've got the big fire coming down too. And then I have, oh, that's interesting, mixed with blood. Oh, okay, that's, what's this? So somehow we've got to get blood in there. Okay, fire was like this, and blood would just be like a drop currently, that's blood. And it's hurled down. It doesn't, oh, let's just pour it. No, it's hurled down. Thrown right down. And it hurled down to the earth. So here we are in the earth, hurled down to the earth. What's happening now? Then it says, a third of the earth was burnt up, a third of the trees were destroyed, and all the green grass was burnt up. Full stop, walk away, trumpet blow. Now tell me what it says. You see, you made it a literal. No, you can't, because then you have to have not only a literal coming out, but you've got a fire, and then there must be some blood somewhere there mixed in it. No, you can't do that. The moment you make this literal, I'm going to show you. See, the moment you make this literal, then we get a real serious problem, because it says a third of the sea turns blood later on.
Yeah.
And some people say, oh, when we had the red tide, you remember? We had the red tide.
Yeah.
No, that's theology. Theology is you study to know. Look, theology is the study of God in action. History is helping us. So we go back in history. And we go back. I'm just going to throw one out now. Go with me to, you see, we've got this picture. And one of them happens to be hail. Okay. Now, who gave these people the trumpets first? Well, just remember. God gives the trumpets. That's a clear picture, isn't it? It's not somebody doing it. It's God doing it. Are you clear? He's saying, I want you people to know what I'm going to do. God doesn't work like the devil. He works out in the open. He really does. So, now go with me quickly to Job here in this story. And let's have to look for that quickly.
That text where he says, where do I score the hail? You know,
yes!
Where do I score the hail?
Okay, where was that?
It's in chapter 38 and 39. He says,
yes.
Have you seen the storehouse of the hail, which I have reserved for the time of trouble, for the day of battle and war? Note, it's not days of battle and war, but day, singular.
Okay, but is this interesting? Listen to this.
So 22 and 23.
God says, now we're jumping back into history to find out what's happening in the present. God says to Job. Now, interesting, why Job? Because Job is typically us. So God says something happened to Job, which I want you to know. I'm going to do over here. Now, this is very scary.
Right. Sorry.
Very scary, yes.
I see the Amplified Bible speaks about Exodus 9, 23 to 25.
Links it to that. We can use that also. That's a very important. I like that link. It's the 10 plagues. Do you remember the 10 plagues?
Yeah.
Okay, and one of them happens to be hail falling down and destroying.
Yeah, it says, if you read it, and Moses stretched out his rod toward heaven, and the Lord sent thunder and hail, and fire darted to the ground.
Okay, so this is brilliant. We're looking at history to figure out what God is doing in the present. I like that. That's brilliant. That's more information. Okay, let's first of all, in the story of Job, it's God and Lucifer, and God has said to Lucifer, do you know my servant Job? Now listen to this, because this is the scary part. God is no respecter of persons. He lets his rain fall out on the wicked and the just. Listen to what I'm saying to you. But God is asking himself a question before he comes, who's mine?
Who's with me?
Who's with me? Who's against me? What was he doing in the 10 plagues in Egypt? He was figuring out who's with me or who's against me.
Let's actually watch it. It's on DSTV now.
Pardon?
The Exodus.
It's on DSTV.
Yeah.
So you can go look at that. But we don't have a literal coming out of Egypt. But we have an Exodus out of Babylon.
Yeah.
Has the time gone already?
It's 9:30.
Yeah.
Oh, so sorry, man. My alarm didn't go off today. Okay, so let's stop there. The Exodus is the Jewish Exodus was out of captivity, out of slavery, everything. God says, I come to deliver you. Now he says, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins. That's Revelation. Who are you talking about? He's talking about the world. I don't want you to be part of the world anymore. Come out of it. Are you with me? So we have this Exodus story, brilliant. Out of, going back towards. You see, Exodus is going back to the promised land. It's going to where we're supposed to be. So you can't take this with you. You've got to leave this and you've got to go to the promised land.
Yeah.
Same thing nowadays. You can't take the world with you. Because there's going to be a new heaven and a new earth.
Yeah.
Nothing here is going to be there. So we have this. So right here, let's just finish with this thought. The storehouse of hail which I reserve for times of trouble. Now, what will you call hail then? Equal to what?
Trials and tribulations.
Trials and tribulations. Trouble. Do you have any of you have troubles in your lives?
No.
If
Nothing.
you don't, I'm going to pray you do.
We've all got troubles.
Okay, I want you to know, I want you to have some troubles in your life, because you see, the only time you ask questions is when you've got troubles. You know, if you have to solve a problem, if you don't have a problem, there's nothing to ask. But if you have got a problem, you'll ask questions. Lord, why me? That's the first one I want to ask. But I'm so glad, because it could have been worse. It could have been me. So let's just stop it right there. We're going to see in a beautiful way how God is actually busy with us already. We just don't know it, and the moment we know it, we can choose better, which means that it's going to be better. Okay.